My name is Audrey E. Sanchez. I was 28 years old when I realized that some people call you insecure only because admitting you are right would cost them too much. I met Daniel during our senior year of college. He was vibrant, charming, and impossible to overlook. He could enter a room full of strangers and leave knowing everyone's name. I was quieter. I studied engineering, worked evenings to pay tuition, and preferred plans that did not change every 10 minutes. Daniel said I made him feel safe. For the first few years, we were good together. After graduation, life became less romantic. Daniel struggled to find stable work in marketing. He moved between temporary contracts while I accepted an entry-level position at a technology company. I paid most of the rent. I covered groceries when his paycheck arrived late. When another rejection email made him cry, I sat beside him until 2 in the morning and reminded him that one company's decision did not define him. Then I was offered a promotion in another city. The salary was higher. The position was better. It was the kind of opportunity I had worked toward since college. Daniel had finally secured a local interview. I declined the promotion. "You're incredible for staying," he told me, kissing my forehead as though sacrifice proved love. At the time, I believed him. Eventually, Daniel joined a creative agency and began thriving. The first changes were subtle. Work drinks stretched past midnight. Networking events replaced our plans. He came home smelling of beer, laughing at stories involving people I had never met. Whenever I asked who had attended, he rolled his eyes. "It's networking, Audrey. You need to trust me." I tried. My former boyfriend had cheated on me, and Daniel knew that history. Whenever I expressed discomfort, he used it like evidence against me. "You're letting your past control this relationship." One coworker appeared more often than the others. Vanessa. She was a senior creative director who wore expensive jackets, told wild stories, and treated every social event like a stage. Daniel described her as a mentor, then as a friend, then as basically a sister. Her name lit up his phone after midnight. Her face appeared in photographs with Daniel's arm around her shoulders. Whenever I noticed, he laughed. "You're reading too much into it." I planned a weekend concert for us. Daniel canceled 2 hours before we were supposed to leave because Vanessa had organized a team happy hour. He returned at 2 in the morning. "You want me to succeed, don't you?" he asked when I said I was disappointed. I did. I also wanted to matter. The night everything ended began at a mutual friend's house party. 20 people crowded into the living room. Music shook the walls. Drinks covered every table. Daniel knew Vanessa would be there. At first, everything felt normal. Then someone started a party game. The loser had to sit on another person's lap until the next round. Daniel lost. I watched Vanessa pat her thigh. Daniel laughed and sat down. Not carefully. Not awkwardly. He settled onto her lap and wrapped one arm around her shoulders while the room cheered. Vanessa placed both hands on his waist and pulled him closer. Several people glanced at me. One friend looked down at his drink. Daniel did not look at me until the round ended. Then he saw my face and pulled me into the kitchen. "Can you not be so jealous?" he asked. His voice was irritated, not apologetic. "It was a game. You sat on another woman's lap. Vanessa is like a sister. Would you sit like that with your sister?" He rolled his eyes. "There you go again, turning everything into a boundaries lecture." The party continued beyond the kitchen door. Someone laughed. A bottle broke. Daniel crossed his arms. "You're embarrassing me with that look." I stared at him. Not Vanessa. Not the cheering crowd. Me. "You knew it would bother me," I said. It was harmless. "How would you react if I sat on another man's lap?" "I'd cheer," he said sharply. "Because I'm not possessive." Then he smiled. "Vanessa understands how to have fun. You're always so serious." That sentence settled everything. I nodded once. "Okay." Daniel frowned. "Okay what?" "I can stop being jealous." He watched me turn toward the door. "Audrey, don't be dramatic." I walked through the living room while conversations lowered around me. Vanessa was holding Daniel's drink. She smiled as I passed. I did not speak to her. I did not ask Daniel to follow. I stepped outside, closed the door, and walked toward my car. Behind me, the music rose again. My phone vibrated before I reached the corner. Daniel had sent one message. "You're seriously leaving over a game?" I placed the phone face down on the passenger seat. He still thought the game was the problem. By the time I reached our apartment, I knew exactly what I was going to leave behind. Daniel did not come home that night. At 1:07 a.m., while I was folding shirts into a suitcase, his message appeared. "Staying at the party a little longer. Don't wait up. We'll talk tomorrow." No apology, no question asking whether I had arrived safely. Just instructions. I packed only what belonged to me: clothes, laptop, work files, a few books. The framed photograph of my mother that sat beside the bed. Everything else could wait. I was not interested in turning the breakup into a week-long argument over kitchen appliances. By sunrise, my car was loaded. I stood in the apartment one final time and looked at the life I had built around Daniel. The couch I paid for. The concert tickets still attached to the refrigerator. The photographs from trips I planned after he said our relationship had become too predictable. I found a yellow sticky note inside a drawer and wrote, "Not jealous anymore. Not your girlfriend either. Enjoy your games." I placed it on the refrigerator. Then I left my key on the counter and drove to my friend Rachel's apartment across town. Daniel began calling at 10:30. I had already muted him. By noon, the messages arrived faster. "Where are you? Why is half your stuff gone? Audrey, this is ridiculous." Then, "Vanessa and I did nothing." That was the first message where he mentioned her. I still did not respond. Later that afternoon, mutual friends began contacting me. One asked whether I was okay. Another apologized for not speaking up at the party. Then Rachel showed me a message from someone who had stayed after I left. Daniel and Vanessa had continued drinking. They danced together. They disappeared from the party around 2 in the morning. Daniel later claimed he had slept on Vanessa's couch. Just as friends. Nobody believed him. I did not call to demand the truth. I already had enough. The following week passed in an exhausting blur. I slept on Rachel's couch until I found a short-term studio apartment. It was cramped, with one narrow window and a refrigerator that hummed loudly at night. But it was mine. Nobody came home at 2 in the morning smelling like alcohol. Nobody rolled their eyes when I asked a simple question. For the first few days, I still woke reaching for my phone. Daniel's name filled the muted notification folder. His messages moved through stages: confusion, annoyance, blame, then false concern. "You're letting your ex's cheating ruin another relationship. We need to handle this like adults. You can't erase 5 years because of one party." He never wrote, "I humiliated you." He never wrote, "I was wrong." I buried myself in work. Months earlier, I had passed on a promotion because Daniel needed to remain in the city. The position was available again. This time, I applied. My manager noticed the change in me. "You seem focused," she said after I completed a difficult project ahead of schedule. "I have more time." That was true. I began going to the gym before work. I stopped planning my evenings around Daniel's agency events. I started eating dinner while the food was still warm. Small things. Quiet things. The kind of things I had forgotten could belong to me. Daniel performed confidence online. Photographs from bars, office gatherings, captions about freedom and refusing negativity. Vanessa appeared in almost every post. Then the photographs slowed. Rumors began spreading through the agency. Vanessa had not only been flirting with Daniel, she had also been involved with another coworker. Then another. One of the men discovered the overlapping messages and confronted her during a company event. Daniel became part of the scandal by association. A major client complained. His supervisor removed him from an important campaign. Friends who had laughed during the lap game began distancing themselves. Daniel's first apology arrived 2 weeks after I left. I know sitting on Vanessa's lap looked bad. Looked bad. Not was wrong. But nothing happened that night. You know how I get when I drink. Then, "Can we meet for coffee?" I ignored it. 3 days later, his best friend Lisa texted me. Daniel is falling apart. You need to stop punishing him. I read it twice, then deleted it. Daniel's mother left a voicemail. She said I had abandoned him during a difficult time at work. She reminded me how much he loved me. She did not mention the party. By the second month, Daniel's messages became desperate. His voice cracked in one voicemail. Vanessa was a mistake. Work is a disaster. Everyone is talking about me. I need you, Audrey. You always know how to calm me down. That sentence revealed more than any apology could have. He did not miss me. He missed the person who stabilized his life. Then the anger returned. You were always boring. You made everything feel like a responsibility. Vanessa was right. You are insecure. I finally smiled. The woman he described as like a sister was now the authority on our relationship. 3 months after the party, I returned from the gym and found Daniel standing outside my new apartment. His hair was unwashed. His eyes were red. He pushed past me the moment I opened the door. This place is nice, he said, looking around. But it's not us. There is no us. He turned sharply. I made one mistake. You made a choice. It was a game. And you chose it. His voice rose. Vanessa dumped me. Work transferred me. People are treating me like I'm some kind of cheater. I remained beside the door. That sounds difficult. He stared at me. You don't care? I cared for 5 years. Daniel stepped closer. I love you. No. You need me. His expression changed. For 1 second, he looked less angry than frightened. Then he said, You'll never find someone who understands you like I do. I opened the door wider. I hope not. He stood still. Then his face hardened. He walked out and slammed the door behind him. A minute later, my phone vibrated. A message from a mutual friend. Daniel is telling everyone you left him because you were jealous of his success. Before I could put the phone down, another notification appeared. An invitation to our friend Jacob's wedding. Daniel had already marked himself as attending. So had I. And beside my name was a new guest. Marcus. Marcus was not a revenge date. That mattered. I met him through work after he joined a partner company on a systems integration project. He was patient, observant, and the kind of man who listened without turning every conversation into a performance. We started with coffee, then dinner, then weekends that did not require recovering from someone else's chaos. He knew about Daniel, but only the facts. The party, the note, the months of messages. He never told me what I should have done. He only said, You were clear. He just did not like the answer. By the time Jacob's wedding arrived, Marcus and I had been seeing each other for almost 2 months. The ceremony was held in a garden behind an old estate. White flowers lined the aisle. Soft music drifted between the trees. Everything felt calm. Daniel arrived alone. I saw him before he saw me. He looked thinner. His suit fit badly around the shoulders, and he kept checking his phone as though someone important might still call. Then he noticed Marcus beside me. His face changed. Not sadness. Recognition. The kind that comes when someone finally understands that the space they abandoned did not stay empty. During the reception, I sat with Marcus near the edge of the dance floor. Daniel watched from across the room. He drank quickly. He spoke to people who kept finding reasons to walk away. Then he came toward us. Audrey, he said. Marcus looked at me. I stayed seated. Can we talk privately? Daniel asked. No. His eyes flicked toward Marcus. This is between us. There is no us. Several nearby conversations softened. People were listening. Daniel lowered his voice. I know I made mistakes. Marcus remained quiet. Daniel continued. Vanessa lied to me. She was seeing someone else. Work transferred me because of the rumors. Half our friends have stopped answering. I said nothing. He stepped closer. I lost everything. No, I replied. You lost what you thought would always wait for you. His jaw tightened. I came here to apologize. You came here because your choices stopped being fun. A woman at the next table looked down at her glass. Daniel's face reddened. I was drunk that night. You were sober when you dismissed me afterward. It was one mistake. It was a pattern. He glanced again at Marcus. So this is what you do now? Replace me? Marcus shifted slightly, but I placed one hand on his arm. I did not replace you. I left you. Daniel laughed bitterly. You always wanted to punish me. No. I wanted respect. I said I was sorry. You said Vanessa dumped you. You said work was falling apart. You said you needed me. His expression froze. You never said you understood what you did. For several seconds, nobody moved. Then Daniel's voice cracked. I can change. You already did. He looked almost relieved. Then I finished. You changed into someone I would never choose again. The relief vanished. His eyes filled, but anger arrived faster. You think he's better than me? Marcus finally spoke. This is not about me. Daniel turned toward him. Stay out of it. Marcus remained calm. She asked you to leave her alone. That sentence drew more attention than shouting would have. Daniel looked around. Guests were watching openly now. His former co-workers stood near the bar. Two of them whispered. The story Daniel had been telling, that I was jealous, unstable, unable to handle his success, was collapsing in real time. He faced me again. You told everyone about Vanessa. I told the truth when people asked. You ruined my reputation. You built it. His hand tightened around his drink. For 1 second, I thought he might throw it. Instead, the glass slipped from his fingers. It struck the stone patio and shattered. The music stopped. Jacob's mother gasped. Daniel stared at the broken glass, breathing hard. Then his phone rang. He looked at the screen. His expression went blank. What? He answered. The voice on the other end was loud enough that I caught only fragments. Complaint. Agency review. Client statement. Immediate meeting. Daniel turned away from the crowd. No, that was months ago, he said. You cannot reopen that now. A woman near the bar raised her phone. She was recording. Daniel noticed. Stop filming me. Nobody moved. Marcus stood beside me. Daniel backed away from the table, still speaking into the phone. Then another notification sounded. And another. Across the reception, phones began lighting up. Someone had posted the video of Daniel confronting me. The caption appeared on Marcus's screen first. Agency Golden Boy begs, ex-girlfriend, to take him back after office affair. The view count climbed while Daniel was still standing 10 feet away, his face drained of color. Then the agency's legal director walked through the garden gate, and she was heading straight toward him. The agency's legal director stopped beside Daniel. Her name was Caroline Whitaker. I recognized her from company events Daniel once insisted were too boring for me to attend. She wore a navy suit and held her phone tightly in one hand. Daniel, she said, we need to speak outside. His eyes moved from her to the guests surrounding him. Not now. Yes. Now. The reception remained silent. Even the music had not restarted. Daniel lowered his voice. This is a private event. Caroline looked at the shattered glass near his shoes. You made it a public one. He stared at her. Then at me. For a moment, I saw the same expression he wore in our kitchen the night of the party, the confidence of someone expecting me to soften the consequences. I did not move. Caroline stepped toward the garden gate. Daniel followed reluctantly. Before leaving, he turned back. This is what you wanted, isn't it? No, I said. I wanted you to leave me alone. His face tightened. Then he disappeared through the gate. Within minutes, the reception began breathing again. The music returned quietly. Someone swept up the broken glass. Jacob approached our table, visibly embarrassed. I'm sorry, he said. I didn't know he would do that. It isn't your fault. Marcus asked whether I wanted to leave. I looked around the garden, the flowers, the lights, the couple dancing beneath the trees. No, I said. I'm done leaving parties because of him. We stayed. By midnight, the confrontation video had spread beyond our mutual circle. The original post disappeared, but copies multiplied. Daniel's former coworkers commented anonymously. One mentioned complaints about inappropriate behavior at agency events. Another described the campaign he lost after the Vanessa scandal. The story he had built around himself began collapsing faster than he could delete it. Monday morning, I received an email from Daniel. The subject line read, "You finally got what you wanted." I did not open it. I forwarded it into a folder with every other message and blocked the address. Later that afternoon, Rachel called. Daniel was suspended. I said nothing. The agency reopened the internal investigation. Apparently, 2 other women came forward after the wedding video circulated. That detail stopped me. What did they say? Similar behavior, flirting during work trips, messages late at night, retaliation when they rejected him. The lap game had not been an isolated mistake. Neither had Vanessa. Daniel had spent years testing what he could do without consequence. Now people were comparing notes. 3 days later, the agency terminated him. The announcement cited professional misconduct and violations of workplace policy. No mention of me. No mention of the wedding. Only formal language and a clean corporate signature. His mother called that evening from an unknown number. I answered before recognizing her voice. "You destroyed his career." "I did not work there." "You exposed him." "He exposed himself." "He is depressed. He has nowhere to go." "That is not my responsibility." Her voice sharpened. "You were together for 5 years." "Yes." "And that means nothing?" "It means I stayed too long." She began crying. I ended the call. Marcus never asked me to explain why Daniel's collapse did not make me happy. He seemed to understand that relief and satisfaction were different things. We continued slowly. No declarations. No dramatic promises. Just dinners, walks, and mornings, where neither of us needed to prove anything. 6 months after the wedding, Marcus and I traveled together for the first time. During dinner one evening, my phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. It was Daniel. "I'm sober now. I've changed. Please let me explain." I read it once, then blocked the number. The next morning, another message arrived through social media, then an email from a new account, then a handwritten letter at my office. He described therapy, regret, and the life he believed we could still rebuild. At the bottom, he wrote, "You were the only person who ever made me feel safe." I folded the letter and placed it back inside the envelope. That was the same reason he had stayed with me. Not because he respected me, because I made chaos comfortable. I asked building security not to accept anything else from him. 2 weeks later, Vanessa contacted me. Her message was brief. "Daniel is telling people you coordinated the complaints against him. I thought you should know." I saved the screenshot. Then I sent it to the attorney my company kept on retainer. Not because I wanted another fight, because Daniel had begun rewriting the story again. The attorney sent him a formal cease and desist notice. No contact, no defamation, no third-party messages. The letter reached him on a Friday. That evening, he posted one final video. He sat in a dark apartment, blaming the agency, Vanessa, his friends, and me. He said everyone had conspired to ruin him. The video stayed online for 17 minutes, long enough for former coworkers to save it, long enough for 2 clients to recognize confidential details he mentioned, long enough for the agency's legal team to contact him again. Then the video disappeared. So did his accounts. Months passed without another message. My promotion became permanent. Marcus and I moved into a new apartment the following spring. One evening, while unpacking, I found the yellow sticky note I had photographed before leaving Daniel. "Not jealous anymore. Not your girlfriend either. Enjoy your games." I looked at it for a moment. Then I dropped it into the trash. The game had ended long ago. Daniel simply had not noticed until everyone stopped playing with him.